Hello, Blue Jays fans, and welcome to the day's latest edition of Jay's Latest. I am your host, Craig Borden, and we're going to go stepping up to the plate with some non directly related Toronto Blue Jays news as we're going to talk Team USA for a second here because, it's almost World Baseball Classic season because, next spring training, the World Baseball Classic will be occurring. Team Canada, Team USA, Japan, pick a place. They're all going to be involved and they're going to be starting to put the teams together. And Team USA actually announced a former Toronto Blue Jay as their manager once again. And I want to send out an special congratulations to Mark DeRosa. We love you in Toronto, bud. We hope you have a great time and we enjoy the wonderful events that are being the manager of the World Baseball Classic for a country. And just enjoy yourself, man. You had a great team last time. Obviously, it's going to be very fun to see what we can get out of this whole World Baseball Classic this coming year. And good deal. Mark DeRosa deserves a job as an MLB manager, is the other point here I want to make. And it was shocked to me that he was actually not in consideration for the Blue Jays role for as long as it was. It seemed like he was quickly written off that writ list. But to that point, congrats again to Mark DeRosa. Hope this is still another future stepping stone to you getting the MLB job, not just on the MLB network, an actual MLB manager's job. So, anyway, and on that note, just to say it, that's the only news I've heard at all on the World Baseball Classic so far. I'm really hoping that Ernie Witt's still thinking that he would line to do Team Canada because I do think that he is a great fit for Team Canada as far as that piece goes. So let's move on to yesterday's action because it was a bittersweet day for the Blue Jays. Had a chance to walk out of Boston with a sweep, and due to I'll say many and many stupid things that occurred, the Toronto Blue Jays were not able to walk out with that win. This game had errors on both sides. It had horrible umpiring at the plate, strikeouts mostly leaning in the direction of screwing the Blue Jays over, but no excuses, no crazy, because the other part of this whole thing is Chris Bassett mowed through the majority of the Boston Red Sox hitters. So it was a good outing for Bassett, who is currently sporting a .98 earned run average after 3 starts. So what a way for Bass to start off this season. Wild. And he had some troubles with a couple of guys in the yard. Duran and Devers yesterday with 2 hits each. He walked Duran twice too. That was the crazier piece to this whole thing. So Duran was continually on base in this game, and eventually near the end of this game, as it went once again into extra innings, the bases ended up being loaded in the 10th inning, and the littlest of squibers that you could even think imagining. Um, Andres Jimenez comes running in and just could not handle the ball to get it over Vladdy. And next thing you know, obviously the winning run scores because it was a tie ball game. But the Blue Jays hung tough. And they scored another run in the 10th inning as well. It was just at that point, it was back and forth. It was almost like nobody wanted to win this game for a little bit with all the errors and everything. Tons of strikeouts on the Blue Jays side of the ball too. There was 11 strikeouts as Walker Bueller mowed through the Blue Jays lineup for 7 strikeouts, but he did give up 4 hits in the earned run. And then the bullpen for the Red Sox ended up having a little bit of trouble with the Blue Jays lineup later in the game. But like I said, it was nice that they were in this game, regardless of how bad the outcome was, because it just shows that we're still ready to go toe to toe with people and keep this thing moving in the right directions. The Blue Jays are showing as they are actually a force in a very battered and beaten up American League East with some of these other teams. The Yankees aren't running away with anything. The Red Sox are currently 500 after that win yesterday. The Rays are having some fun down at Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, but they're not running away with anything either. And then now we're going to go to Baltimore, which we'll get to in a moment, but they are also 5-8. So let's talk the stud on the hitting side of this game. And I don't know where this came from, but Tyler Heineman is apparently a big league hitter all of a sudden. Love that Heine's figured out some stuff at the plate because he's a good catcher, and we have seen him match up pretty well with Bassett and others so far this season. I think there is something there that is showing that Tyler Heineman wants to keep this all day job for the backup catcher role, and him and Kirky actually are a nice pairing. I really do think that you got some of the best defense that you can get there between those two, and if you're going to get anything on the bat side from Heineman, you're gonna only win. It's that simple. But he went 3 for 4 yesterday with an RBI, and then get this, he stole a base. So, it just was crazy that he sees that, and it was in the second, so it was early in the game, but battery mate wise, he's been perfect. And the rest of the bullpen, like I said, had a decent outing except for Jimmy Garcia. Jimmy Garcia ended up pitching a thing in 2/3. It was Nick Sandlin, is what I was thinking of. Sandlin's been so up or down. I hope it's okay. I hope it figures it out, but he is. Having a hard time with this whole thing. But Garcia ended up was being on the mound for part of it with 1 inning and 2/3 of work, but wasn't credited the blown save. Well, he was credited a blown save, but it wasn't directly his fault, other than allowing a base runner. Nick Sandlin, 2 earned runs on 2 hits. And like I said, that little error at the end was enough to seal it for the Blue Jays to lose this one. So 4-3, Red Sox win. But the big thing is, Blue Jays fans, remember, we won this series against the Red Sox in Boston at Fenway Park. Very intriguing, very good, all the right things. So let's move forward just a little bit. Because now, tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern, the Blue Jays will be heading to Camden Yards to take on the Baltimore Orioles. So we already know that the Baltimore Orioles were the reason we looked like we were having a rough start to this season. They beat up on us pretty good. They now have Gunnar Henderson back, and all these things that could be going well for them, but they are currently last place in the American League with a 5-8 record. We're at 8-6 right now as the Toronto Blue Jays fans go, and we're going to have a good matchup again tonight. And that is going to be Bowden Francis is going to be taking the hill for his third start. He's been on fire, and he's going to face Tomoyuki Sugano for the Baltimore Orioles, and he is off to an awesome season so far too. And he's got 2.89 ERA. He's 1 win and 1 loss, just like Bowden Francis is. Not a big strikeout guy, but he misses bats. So, and the Blue Jays had a hard time with him in their first outing with them. So it's not going to be the easiest of first games, but tonight, hopefully, it's a little bit warmer because it is Baltimore. It's not freaking cold ass Boston this time of year. So hopefully that's going to help the Blue Jays bats warm up a little bit too, and hopefully the pitching staff continues this rake because they have been on fire. It's like not NBA Jam heating up anymore. The Blue Jays pitching is on fire and just doing great. So make sure you check that out because Bowden Francis has been one of the more exciting pitchers in Blue Jays fandom of recent and currently doing really well. And honestly, I made the comparison that is Easton Lucas actually this year's Bowden Francis. So we'll see what happens because that was a heck of an outing from him the other day against the Boston Red Sox too. So Blue Jays fans, make sure you like, share, subscribe to all the fun here on Jay's Latest. If you have not had the opportunity to head over to the Jaybird Watching Podcast, my other show, make sure you do the same and check out the most recent interview that we had with big leaguer Bob File. It was great for anybody that is a baseball enthusiast, wants to hear some cool stories about the minor leagues and how you get there and how you eventually work your ass off to get to the major leagues. It was a really cool interview. I cannot say enough good things about Bob File and the group that we've stumbled onto with him and his friends, with Jeff Fry and some of these other guys. Check them out. They're great professionals and they are very entertaining to chit chat with. So check out the interview on Jaybird Watching Podcast. Check us out here daily on Jay's Latest, and we will all have fun and go things go for Blue Jays and lights up. Let's go. Woo!